All right, well, perfect. And please, as we go through the roll call, check my math, but I think we have enough members at the moment. Lupita, will you start with a roll call of the entire CCP, please?
Member Evans,
Present.
Member Jacoski,
Here.
thank you. Member Dell Johnson.
Ron Johnson here.
No, Dell Johnson from the Sheriff's Office.
Oh, sorry.
He's absent. Member Lewis, also absent. Member Miller is also absent. Member Nigel, also absent. Member Ronald Johnson,
Present.
thank you. Member Raven,
Here.
thank you. Member Sullivan,
Here.
thank you. Member Valdez,
Present.
thank you. Member Vega is absent. Member Villegas,
Present.
thank you. And Member Fruitnick. I saw you saying present, but I couldn't hear you. Is your audio working? No. Okay. Oh, no, do ask present in the meantime. There's still no audio, Chief.
It looks like your mic's open, Chief, but it's not coming through.
There's no audio.
All right, and now from Rochelle's desk. Can you guys hear and see me? All right, so we'll get this figured out. I apologize about that. We've done roll call. Looks like we have enough. We have some technical issues solved now, and so we'll get rolling here. Next up, for a little more technical analysis, I'm going to turn it over to Phil for the voting member and where we're currently at with that. Phil?
Yeah, thanks, Chief. Just a minor update. So as folks will recall, upon Karen Larson's departure, we had two additions to the CCP. Nolan Sullivan and Carlene Jakowski each joined the CCP to occupy roles that Karen filled under state law. At that time, Ian Evans also moved into the voting seat on the executive committee. So Nolan's now been appointed as the permanent director for our Health and Human Services Agency. And we wanted to just take a moment to say that with that appointment, everything's essentially going to remain the same on the CCP as far as those three seats. We'll continue to have Nolan, Carlene, and Ian, and talked with Ian a little bit, as well as the chief, about the voting seat on the executive committee. Ian is going to remain in that role as well for the foreseeable future. So we wanted to share that with everybody at the beginning of the meeting. And Chief, I'll turn it back over to you.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, sure.
Open for discussion, Jonathan?
So
I was a little confused as to how many executive votes there are between, the HHSA staff.
One,
There's one executive vote.
yeah,
Okay. And that's Ian.
correct, yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Other discussion or questions or comments from anybody? All right. Thank you, Phil. We'll move on to number 2. Consider approval of the agenda. Hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to review the agenda. And if there's no questions or anyone would like to make any changes, can I get a motion to approve?
So move Villegas.
Okay, we have a first. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, second by Laura. Can we get a vote to approve the agenda, please?
Member Evans?
Aye.
Member Jacoski?
Aye.
Member Del Johnson is absent. Member Lewis is also absent. Member Miller is also absent. Member Nigel is also absent. Member Ronald Johnson?
Aye.
I'm sorry, was that abstain? Or,
Aye, yes.
oh, an aye? Member Raven?
Aye.
Member Sullivan?
Yes.
Member Valdez?
Yes.
Member Vega is absent. Member Villegas?
Yes.
And Member Fruitnick.
Yes. Thank you. Brings us to agenda item number 3, public comment. Opportunity for members of the public to address the CCP on subjects related to CCP business and not otherwise on the agenda. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Lupita, do you see any public comment?
There are no hands raised.
Brings us to number 4. This is our authorization for remote meetings that we still need to do. Assuming it's okay with the CCP to continue remote meetings. If it is, can I get a motion to approve this meeting being remote?
So moved, Raven.
Okay. We have a
Second.
first and second by Ian. Vote of the CCP, please.
Member Evans?
Aye.
Member Jacoski?
Aye.
Member Del Johnson is absent. Member Lewis is absent. Member Miller is absent. Member Nigel is also absent. Member Ronald Johnson?
Yes.
Member Raven?
Yes.
Member Sullivan?
Yes.
Member Valdez?
Yes.
Member Vega? Absent. Member Villegas?
Yes.
And Member Prudnick.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us to number 5, approve minutes of the June 6, 2022 meeting. Again, hopefully everyone's had a moment to look at those. And if there's any feedback or changes that need to be made, please let us know. If there's not, can we get a motion to approve, please?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll
We
second.
have a first by Ron. Is there a second?
Second, Raven.
Second by Jonathan. Can we get a roll call or a vote to approve the minutes, please?
Member Evans?
Aye.
Member Jacoski?
Aye.
Member Del Johnson is absent. Member Lewis is absent. Member Nigel Miller is absent. Member Nigel is also absent. Member Ronald Johnson?
Yes.
Member Raven?
Yes.
Member Sullivan?
Yes.
Member Valdez?
Aye.
Member Vega is absent. Member Villegas?
Yes.
And Member Prudnick.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 6, member announcements. Are there any CCP members that wish to make any announcements? Not scanning the boxes, not seeing any. All right. Brings us to number 7, receive update and direction on Department 2021-2022 program summary process. I'll turn this over to Laura.
Good afternoon, Laura Liticote, CCP Fiscal Support. Last fall, the CCP adopted a budget policy, which among other things recognized the value of data collection and reporting on outcomes for funded programs, specifically within the treatment and innovation areas, but also at the departmental level. That budget policy formed a subcommittee who are currently working on what those metrics and outcome data collection requirements or principles would look like, and their work continues. So as that work moves forward, and keeping in mind that the 2023-2025 strategic plan is still under development, at this time, a general narrative related to the department's work in the 21-22 fiscal year is being requested. These summaries should include the amount and category of funding received, a description of programs and funded position, and where possible, metrics that illustrate outcomes. Financial information will be provided to CCP departments by July 13th, with summaries due to the chair by August 15th. If there are any questions, both the chief and I are happy to answer those.
We'll have to open it up to the CCP for discussion. Ian, go ahead.
Just a quick clarifying question. I know in years past, we did a lot of these in like PowerPoint, we presented that way. Do we have a format that the CCP wants to receive them in, or you want to see them in this year, Chief? Simple Word document, PDF, or do you want to like brief PowerPoint?
Yeah, I'm thinking that template that Laura has provided, just the more of the Word document. We're kind of in this weird phase right now. We have the strategic plan coming up. We going into the budget with the percentage-based budget. We kind of agreed it was a multi-year effort to get us to where we need to be. So what I'm thinking is we need to report out on what we spent our money on last year for sure. We're going to be doing the strategic planning coming up in the next couple of months, where outcome metrics and reporting out timelines and all of that for next fiscal year will be part of that. And so I'm thinking just if we can, at a minimum, fill out that template just on some high-level metrics, narrative on what we spent the money on, et cetera. Now, if somebody wants to get into fine detail, go for it, obviously. But at a minimum, that template is kind of what we were thinking. But obviously, we'll open it up for discussion. Jonathan, your box turned yellow. I don't know if you were, or if that's just something. Okay. All right. Does it seem okay? I mean, doable. We can get that, and it's going to be more of a filing of those with the CCP rather than full-blown presentations and reporting out, if that's okay with everybody. And we've spoken with Chad last week about the process, and he appears fine with that too. So I think we should be good to go. With that being said, I'll turn it over. Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised, Chair.
Okay. We'll move on to number 8. Receive
Hello.
update on the 22-23 CCP budget and provide feedback to staff.
Okay.
And this will
Hello
be-
again, Laura with a budget update. As we briefly discussed at the June 6th meeting of the CCP, additional revenues are anticipated to be received in the 22-23 fiscal year. As detailed in the staff report, approximately $1.7 million in additional funding will be available for CCP use. Departments can choose to revise their CCP budgets to add expenses or reduce their use of fund balance if they so choose during the adopted budget process, or they may allow these additional funds to fall to their departmental or service area fund balances for use in future years. If departments intend to propose new programs utilizing treatment, innovation, or administration funds, a special meeting of the CCP can be scheduled for August 8th in anticipation of adopted budget requests being due to DFS on August 10th. However, request for use of these funds is not limited to that. They can be taken up at any CCP meeting, and I will help that department facilitate any board resolutions or board action that needs to happen. Thank you.
Open it up for discussion. Not seeing any, we'll open it up to public comment. Is there any public comment on this agenda item?
There are no hands raised, Chair.
Turn it back to the CCP for anything further. If not, we'll close out this agenda item. Ian?
So I know we've had I think the CCP has had a part-time analyst for quite a while, and I don't know with the additional base that we've had the last couple of years and additional revenue we're anticipating now, given the focus on outcome measures that we want to see for all the different CCP funded programs, we're going into strategic planning session, all the additional work that it seems like we have ahead of us. I wonder if this is the right time, or maybe it's the meeting in August to talk about, whether the CCP needs a full-time analyst position moving forward to help the departments with some of those measures, to help the CCP overall to finalize the strategic plan and move some of that forward. So I wanted to throw that out to the group for just conversation and discussion. And then also just ask for clarification around like the treatment and innovation funding, how we would handle that since it doesn't go to specific departments. Would that be something we're just looking for proposals upcoming at that August 8th meeting, or by August 8th, I think you mentioned, Laura, for consideration by August 10th DFS budget, or do we want to handle that some other way?
With regards to budget proposals, there's not currently a CCP meeting scheduled for August 8th. It's actually the second community outreach meeting that day for the strategic planning purposes. So given that we're kind of running against DFS timelines, if folks did want to propose new programming using treatment or innovation dollars and have that allocated and appropriated in the adopted budget process, we would need to call a special meeting on the 8th. However, if given implementation time for a lot of these programs, I know it's taking a while. If we wanted to pause on that and do that in September or October, I can certainly help facilitate getting those dollars into the right places so that those programs can start in October or November. However, the group would like to proceed.
Nolan, and then I'll answer the other part of your question. Go ahead, Nolan.
Chair, this is a new member question. Where can we find a listing of the existing programs that we're funding, as well as maybe the goals or outlines of the CCP in terms of kind of what we're trying to accomplish with those programs? Can I get a copy of that from somebody, or is that posted somewhere?
I will get you a copy of that as soon as this meeting's done.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it.
And then I guess not an answer, just my thought and comments on it. As far as an analyst, we do have a little bit of changeover right now with the CCP analyst. There is a tremendous amount of work right now for the strategic plan and for the RFPs, and I think to get where everyone on this Zoom and the board and the public would like us to eventually get to with the CCP. And I do believe if to get there at some point and sooner than later, there may eventually be a need for a little bit more help and assistance through an analyst or another position. So my thoughts on it, that's something we may want to eventually look at. Those are just my first thoughts on your question. I don't know if others have comments or thoughts on that as well. So maybe it's Jonathan.
So how much time do you think we need? I know it ebbs and flows, but what would you say? I mean, would we need a full body, a full FTE?
I don't know. I know right now to get the metrics and outcomes and the strategic planning, it almost, we could use someone full-time kind of running with it and quarterbacking it. But I don't know once that heavy lift is done you know, if it would be that full-time type of position. I know the CAO's office is currently had as a recruitment out for the half and half analyst position. So we may know more coming up in the foreseeable future as far as staffing levels and workloads, et cetera. But it's an interesting idea, Ian, and I appreciate you bringing it up. But yeah, Jonathan, I don't know off the top of my head right now, you know, dedicated hours and what that would look like.
What was the half and half? Remind me, that was half CCP and half CAO, or?
Yes. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 9. Receive update, take feedback, and approve community outreach questions. We've been working on getting our community engagement meetings squared away. They're on July 19th and August 8th. We're working on the presentations. I'll be sending out a mocked up presentation to the CCP and asking for some assistance and volunteers for who would like to maybe cover a slide or two if you're available. But we wanted to hone in today on the 2 questions. I mean, we're trying to get feedback from the community. And we had a discussion at the last meeting on trying to either, do we detail it, get into the weeds? Is it more of a 30,000 foot discussion? So we've went back and forth with the questions. They're in the packet. You know, I don't know if they're quite there yet, 100%, but that's the latest version of the 2 questions we were anticipating talking about at the breakout sessions. Hopefully people have had a chance to take a look at those, and we can discuss if further modifications are needed or if they're kind of on track. So with that, I'll turn it over to the CCP for discussion. My thoughts are breakout session number 2. I kind of like that question. It's just saying globally what should be focused on. And I think it opens it up to the public to really voice what they think this body should be doing, knowing that they might not know specific detail on every aspect, because we have a 20-minute presentation, 30-minute presentation. It's hard to cover. It could be a 2-day class on the CCP to really put all that information out. Number 1, as we go through the strategic planning process, trying to really hone in on the mission and the top goals of what the CCP should be doing. And so that's kind of how we, should the CCP change its mission and goals? If yes, what would you like to see included in those statements? If no, what do you like about the current statements? Kind of more open-ended and trying to just get feedback and find out what the public would really like. I don't know if others have any further advice or questions or anything like that on the topic. Scanning boxes, not seeing anyone coming off.
Chief, did you send something out relative to this item or did I just miss it? I apologize.
Oh, it should have been in the packet assigned to the, did it not go out like that way?
It probably did. I'm struggling here. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it's operator error here.
No, I know with some changeover, we're having a little bit of technical issues that will get squared away with everything. But yeah, there was a little mini staff report with the questions on them. But basically the breakout session 1 just has our current mission and our goals. And then the question of, should the CCP change its mission and goals? If yes, what would you like to see included? And then if no, what do you like about the current statements? And then session 2 was going to be, as a community, where would you like the CCP and its community partners to focus their planning efforts and attention? Oh, there we go. So as later on today and later on this week, we have a couple of days to finalize this before we need to get everything ready for next Tuesday's public meeting. If you have specific thoughts on it or would like to see it tweaked a little bit, reach out to me directly, please, and then we can work at some changes potentially. I'll open it up for public comment on this agenda item if we have any.
There are no hands raised, Chair.
Okay. And it is an action item, Phil. I'm assuming I forget, do we need to take a official vote on this?
Yeah, as I read the title of the item, it looked like you wanted approval of the questions included in this attachment.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'll make the motion to approve these 2 questions for the community outreach meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Chief.
All right, thank you. With that, can we get a vote on the 2 questions?
Member Evans?
Aye.
Member Jacoski? Member Jacoski? I'll come back to her. Member Johnson, Dell Johnson is absent. Member Lewis is also absent. Member Miller?
Sorry for being late, but aye.
Thank you. Member Nigel is absent. Member Ronald Johnson,
Yes.
Member Raven,
Yes.
Member Sullivan,
Yes.
Member Valdez,
Aye.
Member Vega,
Yes.
Member Villegas.
Yes.
And let me go back to Member Jacoski.
Yes, sorry about that. Yes.
Thank you. And Member Prudnick.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, brings us to agenda item number 10, approved planning process and schedule for the development of the 23-25 CCP strategic plan. Laura, I'll turn this over to you.
Hello again. I promise this is the last time I'll talk this meeting. Earlier this year, a timeline for the strategic planning process was presented to the CCP. And at this time, we are further refining that timeline and requesting the scheduling of 3 additional special meetings of the CCP for the purpose of strategic planning. The proposed timeline details regular and special meetings of the CCP through the remainder of the calendar year. It is staff's hope that this timeline will maintain progress on the strategic plan, allowing for a December board approval. These 3 meetings are tentatively scheduled for August 22nd, September 26th, and October 24th. This is in addition to the regular standing CCP meetings on September 12th and November 14th. The agenda packet does provide goals and outcomes we'd like to see come out of each of those special meetings and regular meetings in order to keep us on target to meet that December 6th board meeting goal. However, this is tentative and the staff is open to feedback. Thank you.
That will open it up to the members for feedback or questions, discussion. I know it does seem meeting heavy or intense. I think it's going to take that to really land the strategic plan and to do it justice and really get it to a point where we know we all want it. So we'll make sure that they're focused meetings, there's agendized and items, and we'll be moving forward. Last thing we want to do is waste anyone's time, including the public's. So we'll move forward and make sure they're organized and keep us on tasks with them. And with that, I'll open it up to the public if there's any public comment on this agenda item.
There are no hands raised, Chair.
All right, thank you. Brings us to number 11, receive update on the development of the RFP for the Day Reporting Center services. As everyone's aware, we extended the current contract out through this fiscal year, which will give us time to go out for a full RFP for those services. Attached in your agenda, hopefully, is that current draft of where we're at with the RFP. It still needs work. It still needs to be refined and a bunch of information on it, but I wanted to make sure the group understood where we're at with it and tracking it, and also holds the ad hoc accountable to keep it pushing forward in movement. It's a little complicated, and I won't get into details, but there's just a lot of moving parts to it, and especially how traditionally the service has been provided with in partnership, et cetera. So if you haven't had the opportunity to take a look at it, please do in the next couple days or week or so. And if you have any feedback specific to it, please reach out to me again directly. We want to again get this right. The DRC services are vitally important to our programs and individuals we help. And so we want to make sure we spend the time and get it dialed in to what Yolo County currently needs now and in the future, at least the foreseeable future. So again, please don't hesitate. The ad hoc would welcome feedback and suggestions. And again, we want to get it right. So I'll bring it again to another meeting and we'll keep the group up to date on where we're at with things. Open it up to the members for any discussion. Nolan?
If you recall when it was originally RFP'd, was it a competitive recruit? Were there multiple applicants or was it kind of hard to find folks in this field? Or what's your take on the availability of folks that may or may not apply for this future RFP?
I don't know originally, but the last time the contract was up, it was sole sourced, although there was one provider that indicated interest in pursuing it. I know there are more providers now giving these type of services, so I hope we get a robust group vying for it, and then we can really go from there and again get the right services for what we need, and tweak our programming and just get the program squared away and get it to where we want moving forward. Lupita will open it up to public comment if there's anybody.
There are no hands raised, Chair.
All right. Open it up for further discussion from the members if there is any. All
I guess
right.
Chief, the only question I would ask, I guess, on this item is, and I apologize, it's my screw up, not getting the items. The existing day reporting center services, I know things have changed over the course of the last several years. And I suspect going forward, we're looking at, maybe a different level of service, different type of service as we kind of refine what our needs are. And so I just wondered if there was plans, and maybe it's in the report itself, I apologize, take an inventory of kind of what has changed and what do we anticipate, or what are we looking for, what do we want going forward, or is that going to be part of the RFQ, or is that already been contemplated? And maybe I'm asking the obvious here.
It'll be part of this process for sure. And when we will have minimums requested of what services and what we would like to see through this process. And, it's things have changed. The numbers have changed. COVID's changed. The population has changed. Another thing we really need to focus on is the in custody piece of the programming. Given that the last couple of years with construction and then obviously COVID, et cetera, there hasn't been a tremendous amount of, I don't think there's been any day reporting center services the last couple of years in custody. So, we're trying to make sure all of that's incorporated in the RFP to get exactly what we would like. I don't know if that answered your question, but.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But yes, when you have the opportunity to look at it, please, like I said, this group's a little new out at the ad hoc. It's Ian, the undersheriff, and myself, and we will not hesitate to take feedback and advice and suggestions to make sure that it's a great RFP. So please let us know. All right, with that being said, number 12 is adjournment. Unless there are any objections, we will end the meeting, and our next scheduled meeting is, besides the community outreach, our next normal scheduled meeting is August 22nd. Thanks, everybody.
I have a quick question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
It says it's contingent upon approval of item number 10, but we didn't take a vote for number 10.
Yeah, it's called for an action.
You're right. We need to recall. I'll open up agenda item number 10 again. And that is to approve the planning process and schedule for the development of the 23-25 CCP strategic plan. We discussed it. It's the attachment outlining the meetings. If that's agreeable to the group, can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Chief Miller. With that, can we get a vote to approve that schedule of meetings?
Member Evans?
Aye.
Member Jacoski?
Aye.
Member Dale Johnson is absent. Member Lewis is absent. Member Miller?
Aye.
Member Nigel is absent. Member Ronald Johnson?
Yes.
Member Raven?
Yes.
Member Sullivan?
Yes.
Member Valdez?
Yes.
Member Vega?
Yes.
Member Villegas?
Yes.
And Member Fruitnet.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good catch. Thank you, Lupita. With that, we'll end the meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Chief.